blacks and Latinos. More than a dozen people have been killed in just one small neighborhood near downtown. John Schwada takes a look in this Fox 11 investigation.
These women are grieving at the shooting scene of Jose Maldonado, a 14-year-old honor student at Jefferson High School. He was gunned down by African-American gangbangers while riding his bike a block from his home. The killers later return. In a second attack, calculated to terrorize, they shoot at Maldonado family members and friends as they mourn Jose's death. Months later, the family is still grieving, remembering Jose's birthday at his gravesite. The Maldonado tragedy, part of a troubling trend of escalating interracial violence between blacks and Latinos. Fox 11 News has learned it's erupting along Central Avenue, virtually in the shadow of LA City Hall and downtown skyscrapers. In recent months, more than a dozen killed, many more injured. To be sure, the interracial violence does involve feuds between black and Latino gangs over drugs and turf. But now some see a dramatic and ugly shift when the gangs deliberately target innocent victims of the opposite race, like Maldonado and others. It indicates that the gang violence is being fueled by racial hatred and fears about demographic change.
I don't know why this black boy hated my son so much.
The mother of one Central Avenue victim can't make sense of her son's murder. Some blacks from the neighborhood say the trouble starts with Latino gangbangers.
These are innocent black folks sitting out here outside their stores, outside their home, being targeted.
Targeted by who?
Latin Americans, Mexican Americans.
For the most part, the interracial violence in this part of town has been a silent killer, unnoticed by the media, nor have city officials done much about it. The police won't talk about it openly, but their sworn statements in criminal cases bluntly tell the story. Quote, "There's currently a gang war. Black and Hispanic gangs are going at it every day." During the past 6 months, there has been a feud between the East Side Trece and the Roland 20 and 30 blood gangs. Fox 11 News has also learned that police now believe last year's most spectacular gang shooting was part of this violent pattern along Central Avenue. On June 30th at 49th Street and Central Avenue, 2 African Americans armed with AK-47 assault rifles gunned down 4 Latinos in broad daylight. Almost 40 shots were fired at point-blank range. 3 were killed, including a 10-year-old. The family of Sergio Marcial was targeted.
Do you have any idea why anybody did it?
No motive, no nothing.
I mean, you and your family are not involved in gangs and...
Nothing.
Police say the Marcial triple homicide was a payback killing for another murder that happened 2 weeks earlier in this alley just off Central Avenue. The victim then was Itty Bitty, an African-American, a member of the local blood gang. His killers, according to police, East Side Treces, a Latino gang. Ever since Itty Bitty's death, these grim streets have been a killing field with innocent victims often caught in the crossfire. Police are plugging away, trying to track down suspects in these interracial attacks. This felony complaint names 23-year-old Alicia Merceron, girlfriend of a blood gang shot caller. She allegedly drove a getaway car like this one that police say was used in the triple murder at the Marcial home. Police also believe they know who the triggermen were, though no other arrests have been made. In a recent court hearing, Merceron's attorney blocked our camera's view of her. Outside court, we talked to Merceron's grandmother, the only person in court that day to support her.
All I know, she...
Neighborhood, where families keep shrines to remember their fallen young. Police say Joel Leon was killed by African-American shooters. Police tests later showed their weapon was one of the AK-47s used 3 months earlier in the Marcial triple murder. Leon's mother acknowledges her son had strayed.
Sometimes there is nothing you can do, and the police do what they can do, but this is something that has no end.
Jose Maldonado's father is frustrated as he lists the victims.
All Latinos, young guys, and nobody do nothing. I asked to the police, hey, why you don't stop this guy? You know who do this problem?
Go out and simply look at individual crimes, and then beyond that, they don't see the dots connected to other crimes.
LAPD observer Connie Rice also says the
As neighborhoods change, a low-level war is brewing in communities across Southern California. It's a racial battle between black and Latino gang members. One community fed up with the violence is taking steps to end it. John Schwada has our Fox 11 investigation.
racial conflict like this between blacks and Latinos is ripping through Southern California. From South LA to Compton, Pomona to Pasadena, communities have witnessed troubling shifts in population, especially with Latinos moving into traditionally African-American neighborhoods.
I mean, they come over here and try to take over everything, you know. Any Mexican that come in our way, nigga, we gonna put them down. The Mexicans, that's how I feel.
But the racial conflict cuts both ways, including attacks by Latinos against blacks, spreading the grief all around. Her son, 18-year-old Zelvin Reyes, some say he died a hero, killed in Highland Park defending a black friend who was being attacked by the Avenues, a Latino gang. That attack has produced no arrest. It came even after other members of the Avenues were jailed and charged with a string of hate crimes, including the murder of these two men in 1999 and 2000. All of this aimed at driving African Americans out of Highland Park. In LA County's most recent annual report, 62 hate crimes were reported against Latinos, 78% of the suspects there being black. And in 156 hate crimes against blacks, 73% of the suspects were Latino. But few Southern California leaders own up to the ugly facts of black on brown, brown on black violence stalking their streets.
Eventually they're going to each other over the color of their skin. It is no longer really just a police problem. In fact, to frame it as a police problem is a mistake. It is now a community for the year.
Have a seat, Raphael.
His officers out on the streets dealing with it.
They actually saw the two male black suspects approaching the lone Hispanic victim.
And just in time, they break up a suspected crime, arresting two blacks and finding a gun. But police don't always make it in time. This memorial in Pasadena marks where Chino Acevedo intervened, trying to stop two blacks from attacking an older Latino man.
And when he came to the aid of the initial victim being harassed by the group, an altercation occurred and he was shot and killed.
In September, Erica Hinman was with her boyfriend, Walter Villanueva, a gang member, as he hassled a group of African-American teenagers. When police arrived, Villanueva was firing his gun, and cops fired back, accidentally killing Hinman only a few doors down from her home.
She's gone. No one can bring her back. She's gone.
To put a lid on such racially charged tragedies, Pasadena cops now redoubling their efforts to take Latino and black gang members off the streets.
Pretty much a no-tolerance approach. We stop anybody that's walking around, anybody that may look like a gang member.
Violence is never an answer.
Pasadena also holding community forums to get people's fears.
Latinos have come in and taken away their jobs and have taken away their homes, have taken away their neighborhood.
In fact, if you only look at numbers, Latinos have already replaced blacks as the dominant minority group in Pasadena.
We're 46% Latino now, and where before it was a lot less, low 20%.
And when you see those different changes occur, it's going to be a power struggle between the different groups that live in these neighborhoods.
And the gangs make it worse.
When the gangs come into play, then when you start to see guns being used and then the murders happen. So you're absolutely right. If the gangs weren't in place, we would see this conflict and this struggle happening with less violence.
With interracial brawls like this at Jefferson High in South LA, some are looking for school-based solutions.
I think we're going to have to go ahead, take them off to training and reward those who promote interracial harmony, bring them back and spread that kind of a message.
The new leaders would hopefully break stereotypes, perhaps follow the example of Zelvin Reyes, a Latino who stepped in to help a black friend. And if nothing is done, Pasadena's police chief says the alternatives are grim.